El SEC quiere abrirse a la criptografía, Cardano está empujando, Bitcoin está llegando a nuevos altos, Ethereum está muy cerca y XRP está un poco desesperado. Hablaremos de todo lo más reciente y lo mejor de las noticias de criptografía. ¿Qué está pasando ahora? ¿Qué está pasando esta mañana? Todo lo que pido de ustedes es que me den una sonrisa hermosa para enviar esas buenas vibes. And smash that like button and let's get into it. So, currently, XRP is sitting at $3.23. We've had our daily sell-off into the funding fees, right, which are happening about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're seeing this happen more and more, as I'm thinking that it's more Asian and Europe traders that are doing this, because US traders are probably sleeping. Maybe West Coast traders are still awake like into the night. But for the most part, it seems that the Asian traders are doing this. They're selling off into the funding fees. This isn't the first time that it's happened, but it will be interesting to see. As you can see, Bitcoin hit here a new all-time high last night. There was no popping of bottles of champagne, right? As we've seen in previous times, it went up all the way to $1.24 and change. Let's get a line there, so we know $1.24, $4.64. And since then, we saw it retest their previous high, pop back up, but then sell off. We're seeing Ethereum get very close to its previous all-time high. So you can see I have the line here. It's kind of hard to see. At 48 cents and change, $4,870, somewhere around that range. I think there might be a battle between the shorts and the longs to get over that level, because, of course, it's going to be a big hoopla and all that. So, I think with all the momentum that we've been seeing in Ethereum recently, that could be something that we need to watch out for today. We had Cardano pumping overnight, going over $1 once again, but then pulling back. So, there are assets up 9% on the day, so there are assets that are moving, but for the most part, it's kind of a mixed bag. You can see some are green, some are red. After yesterday, we had a lot of green. Today, there's a little bit concern over the PPI and initial jobless claims that is coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So, we've seen this before when we have a little bit of sell-off into these events. It's not nothing that we haven't seen before. And so, we just need to take that into consideration, that sometimes we're going to have news that sells off the market. We saw XRP break the trend again, and it looked like, oh, we're going back maybe even to $3.60. And then the whole market sold off, and XRP did a nice minus 3.5%, 3.6% there in 6 hours. So XRP continues to be, some might say weak, relative to where others are. But as you can see, even Solana that had a nice day yesterday pulled back that 3%. And even Cardano is having the momentum pulled back there around 3% as well. So, sometimes XRP and the market, it just moves with the algorithms. There's going to be some volume that comes in, but there's always the chance of pullbacks and sell-offs and profit-taking. So, again, if you're day trading, if you're swing trading, you need to take this into consideration. Look, over the last 4 hours, it's all longs that are getting smooshed, that are getting liquidated. And you can see. But if we go out a little bit longer, shorts got liquidated there on Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and Cardano, the 4 horsemen right there. XRP, a little bit not getting a lot of interest right now just from the money, only 7 million total on liquidations, which you might say is good, but that means that there wasn't quite a lot of liquidity and wasn't quite a lot of action happening around XRP. So again, things can change, things can shift, things can move. That's why I'll never tell you to buy, to sell, or to hold, because I don't know what the market is going to do day to day. Of course, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me any money. Those are scammers. Please be very careful out there. If we do get to craziness and banana zone, and yes, we're hitting Ethereum high, but people are talking about doubling, tripling from here, that's when we might see those 10x moves, those 50x moves that people are waiting for and anticipating for. And if that happens, it's going to get a lot more crazy. So just be very careful out there. Now I want to move on to a little bit more news. We'll talk about more Ethereum and the SEC and a little bit Bitcoin. And there's not a lot, there's actually an interview from Ripple CTO. And I want to go into that a little bit more depth tonight. So I want to get back today. My wife's feeling better. She went to work today, so hopefully I can get back to the 3 a day. And so one of those videos, hopefully we can talk about that interview a little bit more in depth, what he had to say and what he tweeted out. Hopefully I can do that tonight. I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked, but hopefully, do I look tired? Do I have bags under my eyes? If you enjoy my bags under the eyes, now's the time to subscribe to the channel. Let's take a listen what she had to say. Here we go. A little bit about that EO. So it instructs the Department of Labor and the SEC to adjust their rules and regulations to allow those retirement accounts to invest in private assets, to invest in crypto, or at least to allow it. How will the SEC approach this? What does that checklist look like? Katie, it's great to be here. I think we've already started that process of opening the private markets to retail and thinking about ways that we can get them access in a way that's diversified, professionally managed, and consistent with their investing timeframes. And so I think we'll just continue with that work. Appreciate that context. So as we continue on and as you approach this, talk us through some of the potential risks that you're thinking about, because certainly a lot of folks on Wall Street and elsewhere have been anticipating these rule changes, but there's also a lot of concern too about putting what are risky assets in retirement accounts. Yes, I think those are legitimate concerns. What we've seen, of course, is that the public markets are dominated by several large companies, and also companies are waiting longer to go public, and so we're looking for a way for retail to get earlier access to the growth of companies. And so that's really the goal of it. So what you said on the end there, that they're trying also to give investors the possibility of investing in IPOs and things like that, which is very, very interesting.